Yo, okay, got it. We are live. We are live. Oh, are we live? I think we're live. Alrighty then. Choo, choo, choo. Okay. There. Boom. All right. So let's record in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. I'm your host, Camille Smith, and I have a special guest for episode 69. Ayo. No.
Ayo.
I'm not going to start. This is a PG episode.
Okay.
As much as we want it to be. But I want to introduce a special guest, because I love having special guests. My big friend, Shana, from, oh my gosh, since when? Service?
Yeah, middle school. You're in grade 7. Oh.
Because that soundboard is no longer here with us, but I can still make the sound. But dang, grade 7?
Yep. Years. Let's not reveal our current age.
I'm not gonna expose us. Even though people know how old I am. But I'm not gonna expose us. My gosh, I just thought about that. That's a really long time ago. But it's funny because even though we went to the same middle school and same high school, we, distance off because university, college and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then how did we link up again?
2015. I'm at work, working in a call center. I look over and I'm like, who is this person that they just hired? She looks so familiar.
That's so crazy because I was like, "Hey, Shana Wagwan," and it was years since then, right?
Yeah. Since high school graduation, we hadn't seen each other, really spoken to each other, and then boom, 2015, you walk through the doors, and I'm like, what?
Oh, for us. And then it's a joke because just the other day, I won't expose us too much. On the weekends, we used to relax downtown and stuff and have a drink or two. I'll say a drink.
Definitely. After work, yeah.
It's a funny story. To celebrate my mom's birthday, I went back to that bar and I was like, yo, the price gone up.
That's inflation for you.
That's why I just had to respectfully tell everyone, yo, price gone up. Since every place has gone up, it only makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure you've evolved since that time and all that good stuff, because I can see the background of anyone that is watching. You'll see the background as well. Tell us what you've been up to since then.
So since 2015, what I've been up to, I've been learning more about finances. I think it was 2020 during the pandemic. I had a couple of expenses, bills, credit cards that were piling up, and things were starting to change in my household. Money was becoming tight. So to be honest, the first person I reached out to was Camille. And I was like, girl, I need to start paying off this debt. And we started talking about different methods of how we can get them paid off. And I immediately went to work. I got my credit cards down and I still had a balance on one of them. And I started saving. I don't even know what I was saving for, but I just started saving. Fast forward, I met Harpreet Gill. And if anybody knows Harpreet Gill, she's an amazing individual. She used to be a social worker in the Jane and Finch community. And through her, I was introduced to WFG, where I learned more about finances. And I started my own financial service business, Project X Financial. And what it's really about for me, it's about educating average Canadians on how to get ahead financially. A lot of my mistakes when it comes to finances have been a lot of trial and error because there was nobody to teach me. I'm a first generation Canadian, and my mom, she did her best, but she didn't know all the ins and outs of how to really make money in this country and have money working for you. And this is what I do, and this is my mission, to teach people first so they can make good financial decisions for themselves.
That's what it's about, right? And I'm glad that I always wipe my eyes when I hear like I'm an inspiration, because that's what I'm also trying to do, like, you know, help people be financially fit. And it's tricky when it comes to our community because we didn't know everything, right? And then when we start to build up the community and learn about like what others are learning and actually like taking it in, it's just like, yo, I have to reach out to the people like I've known from time, and then also branching out to others. So I'm glad you're part of this journey with like, and being the greatest mom and everything, because side note, folks, Shana's son, her oldest son, Kishan, he was able to be part of the experience with like the why am I slipping away?
I would just say the stock market game. That's what we call it at home. And what I do appreciate about it is that even though there was an age restriction, you still let my younger son, Keneal, join. He was 10 years old at the time. And this is this young, fresh-eyed 10-year-old kid that's like buying stocks online, trying to keep up with the older kids. He did his best, but I think it was a great lesson learned, right?
Exactly.
And Keyshawn, he just knew what to do, when to do it. I believe he was able to place like third.
Yes, so and he finally got his prize. That was on that's on my end. So when the money team hears this, I'm so sorry.
They're like, a year later.
But better late than never.
Of course. Oh my.
You know, but the best thing about it is when I have discussions with you, I find you as a really rational individual and lady, and we can talk about things that, like, I always have these, I don't know, first of all, I don't know why I'm having these type of discussions. Because one, I'm not dating. Two, I don't plan on getting married anytime soon. God willing, whatever. If it comes, it comes. But I'm just having these discussions because obviously that's like when it comes to personal finance, people are like, you don't want to talk about my investments. Da, 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 da. I want to talk about ratchet shit. And I'm like, I don't really talk about it, but I'll talk about this because like marriage and relationships, dating, getting married and stuff, it has to do with money.
Of course.
In a sense. I
think it's like what you say. A lot of people kind of separate the two. They think dating has nothing to do with money, but it does. And when you transition for dating into like a serious relationship, have you had that conversation about money? And for a lot of people, they haven't. They just walk into relationships with all these expectations in their head and thoughts of, oh, this is how much the other person makes. This is how much the other person has for expenses. And this is how much they treated me. They brought me here. But reality is sometimes so different because when somebody's whining and dining you, they're spending money that they possibly don't even have.
Oh, and I've come to realize with like being in the financial world, I'm like, this is kind of not fair. Like, I know like in the 1950s and 60s, the man should court you and all that stuff. But like, as of late, women have been making money or like going to school and all that stuff, and having the same, not the same, sorry, I shouldn't say the same. What is the saying? Like women make 70% of what
a man would make. Yeah, a man would make in the same job. But I think what you're pushing on, or what the subject you're trying to say, is that there's more women professionals in the workplace now.
Exactly. So like, how are they able to have that same mindset about like, yeah, I want the man to court me, take care of me? I'm like, but y'all making the same amount. Like, ideally, it's better when it's two heads than one, right? So why are you saying like, no, my money is my money, and his money is my
money too? Our money, right? Yes, I've heard. Unfortunately, I've heard a lot of women make statements like that, and I think it comes back to two things. It's either how you grew up, your perspective on relationships, or what you're influenced by the media. I know I grew up so differently than a lot of my peers. So younger, when you're dating and stuff, I was like, nope, I pay my own bill. I don't owe you anything. Because I didn't want any type of expectations from the person that was taking me out.
Same.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to feel obligated that you're like, we are spending time together going on this date, and you had to pay me. So like, and I said that last week, like, I don't want you to feel like you're my parent and you're like, oh, so now I can tell you what to do. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, because my parents haven't told me what to do in a very long time. So for someone else to do that, but I'm stubborn. I've come to realize I'm stubborn. I've accepted it.
It's interesting how it kind of works, because you could be that way at the beginning of a relationship, and then once it gets serious or you guys start having children, it can shift again. Because I know even in my life, there was a period of time where I didn't work full time.
Okay, true.
Where my partner paid majority of the bills. And that was a little bit of adjustment for myself. But the one thing I did, just because of who I am, I just always made sure I had a part-time job. Because
that's fair.
I don't like asking for money.
Right?
Like, if I want to get my nails done, I don't want to be like, hey, can I have like $60, $80, $100 for my nails?
Can I have allowance? Like, can you imagine?
Oh, I wish sometimes. Sometimes I do wish. That idea of somebody taking care of you. But reality kicks in every time. And I realize it's better to have two heads than one. It's better to have the two incomes, especially when you're raising kids. It makes life way more affordable. And there's benefits. And I think a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of benefits of having somebody else on your team when you're moving forward in life. You support each other. It's a great opportunity.
It's like, I like to say it as like a partnership. And I know some people don't like hearing that, but it's like, in a sense, like, and I know, you know, your situation, like, I witnessed a beautiful marriage, not mine, but my parents. So I always saw it as a partnership, like if I'm not able to do this, the other person is able to do that. So even though I'm not in a relationship or anything, I strive to be able to mimic that. But there is times when I'm like, I don't think I can ever mimic what they had, but I do understand the partnership and doing a give and take, because that's how relationships, partnerships, marriages and stuff should be, right? So I'm just like, let me just ask someone that's actually in or like experienced, so I'd be able to understand, because there's so many things that happen in a marriage that I only know a part of it, right? But I'm hoping you would be able to explain more.
Definitely, we can definitely dive deeper into that specific topic. You say it's a partnership. I think of it as a team only because when I think of the relationship, I've expanded my definition of that and I've added children. So then it becomes a team. But definitely partnership is the word, especially at the beginning. And I think as we're transitioning in these relationships, we need to have open conversations about money. You have to have an understanding of not necessarily the exact amount of money that they make, but their spending habits. Because some people are serial shoppers. I'm talking about online purchases, constantly at the mall, while other people are a little bit more laid back with their shopping, where the packages are just being delivered on a regular, so you might not even notice that they have some type of spending habit. And then, are they a person that's always looking for opportunities to make more money? Like, are they driven? Are they looking to grow themselves? Things like that, I think people look for. I know myself. Myself, when I'm in relationships, it's not even if you're driven or if you're focused or how much you make. At the beginning, it's just what do you bring to the table as a guy?
Hold on. When I hear that question or statement, I don't know how to feel, because I'm like, fam, like, and I shouldn't say fam, so let me be fair. When it comes to if someone was ever to say, what do you bring to the table? I'll be like, well, I would hope that the conversations that we've had and the interactions that we've had, and, simple just talking or whatever, that you would understand that whatever I bring to the table is valuable, and not like, oh, I'm just bringing my looks and things. No, like, I would hope that you would know that I have ambition. I'm quirky sometimes, but like, it's just, I don't know. When I hear that question, I'm like, I don't know what I bring to the table. When you find out about me, you'll know. You'll
know. But I think, like, for all women, what we're looking for, if I'm to generalize it, is we're looking for, like you said, a partner, someone who can support us. So not something that's going to hold us back or tell us that we're not able to do something or our place is in the kitchen. We're looking for somebody that can support our dreams as well, because we're pushing for you 100%. We're pushing your dreams, what you want, but we're just asking for the same.
Is that so hard? Like, the way to my heart is through my stomach as well. So I would like for both of us to cook together,
Agreed.
That doesn't make sense in my eyes, but what do I know? I'm still on the sideline watching.
Oh gosh. So let's talk about weddings, because I think that's what we're here to talk about.
Ooh, my gosh. Okay. So I've known a couple folks in the last, I'll say 3-5 years, that has been getting married. Actually, not even 5 years, but whatever. I think the last wedding I've heard of, especially during the pandemic, I believe it's cost conscious. And I'm like, okay, that I can dig, because I don't think it makes sense, in my eyes, only in my opinion, to spend like a down payment on a wedding and then spend all this money, and then people call me and are like, yeah, and I'm like, that's a lot. Like, I don't think you should be spending like a down payment, especially if you don't have a house yet and that's your plan. You should be more conscious about your money, or be conscious about your budgeting. And then I remember, like, a guy friend told me, they're like, yo, I spent too much on an engagement ring and too much on the wedding. I was like, that's all on you. Because ideally, with an engagement ring, you're going based on your budget to buy that ring. And I actually did a poll, and like, there's like myths, like, a society normally expects you to spend 3 months worth of your salary. What?
I like the fact that you said that society expects you to spend 3 months worth of your salary on a ring. And I think what most people don't understand is this was based on an advertisement from a diamond company. So how do we go from an advertisement to reality where it's passed down and considered traditional? And I think that's where people get confused. If the point is to get together, have a marriage, have a long-lasting marriage, then why do we put so much emphasis on a ring? I have like a couple girlfriends, and growing up when you're young, they'd be like, "Oh, it's all about the diamond. I want a diamond." And I always think, especially now that I'm older and I see diamonds, I'm like, do we even know the difference? We can't
Exactly.
look at a ring and be like, "Oh, the quality, oh, the roughness." We're not diamond experts.
And first things first, I don't want any blood diamond. So if anyone that thinks about like, I'm gonna propose to Camille, you already know from the jump, I don't want a diamond, blood diamond. I watched the movie.
But it's not just that. For a lot of these diamonds, we don't know where they're being mined, right?
True.
Or are people getting reasonable salaries? Is it good conditions? There's so much more to the diamond industry that even me and you don't even know or understand.
Yeah.
So when I think of an engagement ring, and definitely ladies are probably going to get upset with me, I think a man has to just buy what he thinks is right. Like women give hints all the time. I have girlfriends that are like, yeah, I told them a heart. Like I want a heart diamond. So like, guys, listen, you can get a heart diamond, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the $10,000 ring, $30,000 ring. Like, let's be a little bit more reasonable with this.
How much? Sorry?
30,000?
No. Like I did a poll today, and I did it on 2 accounts, but I saw mostly, I know someone that spent a month's worth salary, and then like others spent 2 months, like 2 months worth.
It's relative to what you make, right? So if you're bringing in $4,000 a month, that's a $4,000 ring, right? Versus if you're making only $2,000 a month, that's a $2,000 ring for if you're just doing 1 month. But I think, fellas, when we're buying these rings, what are our current expenses and our current debts? Why should we go into debt just to buy an item? So I know a lot of older people that once they've gotten married, they don't necessarily wear the expensive diamond anymore. They wear it for the first year or so. Some girls say it's heavy. Some people are afraid of it being stolen or them losing it. So we just spent $10,000 on a ring that's in a box in a drawer.
Ain't that something?
When I could have taken that same $10,000 and invested it or put it towards a down payment. And I think we need to start thinking that way. It's not about the here and now. It's what can I build for the future? And that's how you have to think about your finances.
I'm seeing some comments and things. I'm seeing 30K. I'm good. That's a down payment. What matters more, a house or a ring?
House.
And obviously, exactly, a house. Like hands down.
I don't even understand this. There's a show on Netflix and it has the same concept. A wedding or a down payment on a house. And couples go through it, and the amount of couples that choose the wedding, I'm shocked. I'm completely shocked. I'll tell you a personal story. When we were getting married, we put ourselves on a budget. 10K. 10K was how much we wanted to spend. That's it. So I know it might be hard to do a 10K wedding now, but this is back in 2014. So inflation wasn't what it was now.
Because inflation gone up.
But definitely it made us reduce our guest list, and it made us focus on people that were more important to us. And we took this opportunity to flip it because we were saving.
I'm just checking to see my invite.
You had to have been family. You had to have been family to cross that door, or like close friends, almost family.
Okay, we rekindled after. Okay.
Yeah, 2015 after. But 2014, going into this wedding, we knew we wanted to spend 10,000. And then we thought for a second, okay, we don't want wedding gifts. We've been living together for over 10 years at that point.
Okay.
We already had 2 kids. I don't need a new toaster. Sorry. So what did I want? I wanted monetary gifts. And I put that on my invite. Ladies, don't be afraid to put that on your invite. It's a new world. Monetary gifts are a must. So we started saving. So we saved about $15,000 in a year.
Nice. And that's possible. That is, in a perfect world, it is manageable. Because what, 15,000 in a year? And I'm doing the calculations as we speak. In a year.
15,000 in a year.
$1,250 for some people. $1,250 a month that you can save. And especially when you love someone and you're willing to make it work and sacrifice, you'll be able to save that $1,250, because I'm pretty sure there's things that you spent like $500 or $600 and you're like, okay, I could save a little bit more for the wedding, right?
Well, so no more lunches out, less date nights. Like, there was compromises, because when you're on a mission and you want to save, well, I know for myself, nothing else matters. It's just X amount has to hit the account every single month. And if I can't make it in my 9 to 5, I got to find a different way to make it. Like, if I think back to that time, I think I was cooking, when I cooked dinner, I dish out an extra plate of food for his friend at work. And I was like, yeah, go collect my check. You got to do what you have to do. And I think that's the main focus. So $10,000 for the wedding. So another thing we implemented, a rule, no outside help. And I know what you're thinking, why not let people pay for things to help and support you in the wedding? But what I find with that is it comes with a bag of opinions and not a lot of money. So now the cost of your wedding goes up. But I did let my mother pay for certain things, like my dress and like my jewelry and a couple of things like my hair. So that wasn't a part of the $10,000. So what happened? We spent the $10,000, had an extra $5,000. We had the wedding, monetary gifts, boom, made $15,000 from the wedding. That's a $5,000 return on my $10,000 investment. So definitely it is possible. And then from there, we had a frank conversation, because we knew we wanted home ownership. And going into home ownership for the first 5 years, as anybody has done it before, you know, you have to be a little bit more responsible with your finances. So we took a step back and we're like, 2015, we're going to take a family trip. We're going to pack up the kids. We're going to go back home and we're going to do it big. We went for about 15 days. Split it, spend some time with family, spend some time, you know, the 4-star resort. So my kids could have that full experience, understand where they went, where we come from. And then after that, 2016, we bought our first home. By 2016, with the money we had from the wedding and continued saving, we had almost $30,000 for our down payment.
Hold on, pause. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear the strategy with this. So instead of, even though you guys didn't, have a house at the time, you made sure you had a affordable wedding enough to like have a plan and to get a house eventually, especially. But missing the house prices as of late. So you have to be more strategic when it comes to like this time. And question, because I know how some, I'm not going to say Caribbean, because there's actually a lot of cultures that expect certain type of weddings, like open bar and 3-day celebration and things. I'm not gonna lie, the best wedding I've seen so far was in Korea, where it was 2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours and done. Ceremony, celebration, done. I went to a wedding, let's say like 10 or like noon. By 3 o'clock, we were chilling at like a store, just having a drink after the wedding. We're like, yeah, that was a really nice wedding, and we're able to do this afterwards. I respect the long celebrations, but it's really not needed, because you just want to go to your honeymoon, whatever, unless you're in like a destination wedding, but we'll talk about that after. So did you have, even though you had a budget, what things did you have to cut cost on to be able to have it be affordable but manageable for you guys?
So I'm going to say one thing I had to cut a cost on, and at the time when I was planning, this was so important to me. I wanted a specific type of chair for the tables. Like, how silly is that? Like, now looking back at it, I'm like, Shana, seriously? But I had to give up these specific types of chair and just get a regular chair with the chair covering. That was something I had to give up. I DUI'd a lot of things. So I created my own centerpieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
And I introduced myself to Michael's.
But you get more creative, right? When it's
you definitely, when you have a smaller budget, you get more creative. One part I did let somebody pay for, and it's somebody that's really close to me. It's my cousin. It's actually my husband's cousin, but I claim him as my own. I let him buy all my flowers. So like my bridal flowers, the flowers for my bridesmaids, and the boutonnieres for the guys. He stepped in a big way, and he was able to purchase all those for me.
Yeah. Well, okay, because I know like my mom used to do I'm going to say florist. Boom, florist. Easiest way to say it. So I know how like much time and effort and picking out the right flowers. So I would allow that, right?
Yeah.
But what about food? So
you can't. It's funny that you say food, because food became a big argument within the families. Because being of Jamaican descent, everybody wants to eat West Indian food at every single wedding. But me and my partner at that time, we were like, no, we're going to go with the venue menu. And we picked out this Greek menu of things that we know people know we're used to eating. We like Greek food. Who doesn't like a good Slovaki? And if I'm giving you an open bar with that, please.
Oh, there's open bar too?
Yeah,
where my rice and peas then?
So I think it was a little bit of an uphill battle at the beginning, trying to tell our family members that no, there's not going to be no jerk chicken, but there's going to be Slovaki. We did the whole fruit, dessert, and everything else. So it's not that they were missing anything. And as my partner says all the time, you eat it every day. One day won't kill you.
So to the ladies and gentlemen that, especially if you are Jamaican descent or Caribbean descent, there's certain things the older, and I always find that it's the older generation that they see what their mind is as a traditional wedding, or like how they want their wedding, and they want to see you have your wedding.
Duplicate.
They want to see this, that. Like, are you spending? Are you putting the money in? Because if you're not, I don't want to hear it. So, but if you are, I bring some rice and peas and stuff, because I actually went to a wedding. I'm not gonna say recently. What, 2020?
Yeah. Before.
I'm gonna say this gentleman was very, very wise.
Oh. He
got married on February 29th.
Oh wow.
You're a very wise man, sir. And I'm not gonna boost your name right now, but he actually had like he used to work at a place when they were able to, I'm gonna say, donate the food. So he was able to cut costs with that. So we had the rice and peas, jerk chicken, and all that stuff. But when you have a anniversary every 4 years, can't complain.
Can't complain. Can't complain.
Very wise man. But I'm glad you're able to, because I always find like an open bar is very like costly. But I know people want to celebrate and be there and all that stuff.
Maybe so what I find with the open bar, it's all about your guest list, because it's based on how many guests you have. So the smaller the list, the more opportunity it is to have an open bar. We had about 75 people. So in the size of weddings, this is considered small. And then another way that we saved money, we
Yeah.
utilized our friends' skills. So we have friends that are in the music industry, so they're DJs. So why am I paying for a DJ when I have a DJ for free? I had a custom song performed specifically for us with our names in it because I have friends who are artists. So this is why I say it's always good when we connect with people, but it's even better when we have the opportunity to give them employment, show their skills to other people. And that's what we use that day for.
That is very, very smart. That is very wise. Because I didn't even think about that. Like, why not? Why wouldn't I have and they're still gonna get food. They're gonna get
free alcohol.
Right? So that's actually a good idea. If you had a chance to do it over again, would you do it like that, or would you have a destination wedding?
See, I find that question kind of funny because originally that was the idea. Because we had been together for such a long period of time, we already started having kids. It was kind of like, do we really want to do this big white affair? Let's just have a destination wedding. Thinking back, I probably still wouldn't have had a destination wedding because I was able to get everybody to fly in. But thinking of the future, if I was to ever have any type of large ceremony again like that, it would be a destination.
Okay. But you know what?
Feel the sand in my feet.
True. I've been to a destination wedding and I was mad because it was like in Jamaica and stuff. And it was a nice hotel, open bar, all that good stuff. And the food is good.
Mm-hmm.
If I look back at the photos, food was good. I know I've been asking a lot of questions from like people that have been married. I'm like, why are you asking me so many questions? I'm like, chill. Content. And it's like they had spent approximately 25K with a destination. And I'm gonna say they've been married for 10 years. So it's safe to say, based on, you know, everything that's happened, that's a reasonable price. Because I can only imagine how much it is now. Like, I have a friend that is about to get married, but I don't know if I know they're trying to do like an Airbnb thing. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of dope. It's like a different type of
That's
setting.
Exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, if I was to do a destination wedding now, I'd be trying to Airbnb it.
Because it only makes sense, right?
Yeah. Cut the cost.
And I have to remember, and this is like one of the discussions, it is based on what you can manage or afford. And I don't want to like push and say like, nah, don't do 25,500 or 50,000 stuff, because maybe you can afford that. But I'm like trying to think about the folks that, and this is about to be a question after, if you are really going based on like someone you love and you really want to be with them, like you're willing to pay whatever that they want to have that date, but it's both of your days to feel one and welcomed. And is it like are you projecting a lifestyle that you're able to afford? Because if you give them this big wedding, are you able to sustain this type of lifestyle in the marriage?
I think for most people, if it is different from their current lifestyle or their current relationship, they understand that it's not going to be sustained. It's just this one day where it's going to be fabulous, gigantic, very expensive, and a lot of bling. But on the other side, I have about 2 friends who did the City Hall wedding, where they just went to City Hall, signed the paperwork, had a small ceremony with just family, just to celebrate. Like one of my girlfriends during the pandemic, she got married like that. And we're like this. We are so close.
Yeah.
I didn't get an invite.
Oh.
But I knew going ahead of time what the plan was. But that's what I'm saying. No, weddings are different for different people because their meanings are different for different people, right? It's
Fair.
about two people and it's not about anybody else. And if you
True.
have hurt feelings because you were not invited to a wedding, too bad.
I just want to invite. Can I get the choice? I can go.
I'll give you a save the date. I'll give you another example of a wedding.
Yeah.
2021, 2020? 2020 summer.
Yes.
2021. I can't even remember. This past 2 years are a
Blur.
blur. I went to a good friend of ours' wedding, and I saw during the pandemic how much times it's kind of been canceled, rescheduled, redesigned to accommodate. And when she finally had the wedding, it was the most beautiful thing ever. It was
Oh.
simplistic. We went to
Yeah.
the church, we had the
Yeah.
church ceremony, and then after that, photographs at the park, very traditional. And
Yeah.
then instead of going to a big hall, it was
Yeah.
held in her mother's backyard. And what she did, she got decorators to come in and decorate the backyard, put in the tables, put in the tent, and the caterers were there. So she used her deck for the catering, so all the
Yes.
food was there, and she had a bartender. So
Yes.
did we miss anything? No.
No.
Was it a personalized wedding? Yes. And the cost of it overall was a lot more cheaper than she originally expected it to be.
Nice. The only thing I have concern with that is cleaning up. Because as soon as you said in the background, I was like, Lord Jesus, I have to clean
Wait,
up all of
I
that.
didn't say it was her backyard. It was her parents.
Fair. But you know, you have to help. You're not gonna just like, okay, parents, bye, we're going on our honeymoon. So like, I like that. I actually like that idea because I did see that some people pushed back on like pandemic weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking, I don't know, maybe personally me, I'd have been like, eek, actually, guys, we're gonna push it back until like things are cooled off. Cause I'm trying to think like I wouldn't want people to be nervous and like, oh my god, I can't believe Camille still had a wedding during a pandemic. Like, cause I actually knew certain people that were like actually really scared to go out. And I was one of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would understand. I mean, if I was to get married, I'm not saying I'm
See,
universe.
I would see it completely opposite. I'd be like,
Yeah.
why am I waiting to have people at my wedding? I want to be Mrs. So-and-so. So can we just do it today? Because that is the goal. I'm committing to you. I want to be with you forever. Why am I waiting?
Ooh, good question. I'm glad. So I know there's a lot of I'm not gonna say a lot of people, most men, and this was one of the things that really ticked me off. I seen a quote, or not a quote, a statement that this guy said like marriage is not beneficial for men. Yo, when I say I was upset, I was inside livid because, like I said before, I witnessed a 45-year marriage that both partners benefited from. Mm-hmm. And when people are like, oh, so what is it? How is it more beneficial for a guy? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You guys keep your last name. You have a legacy that goes on. When it comes to businesses actually see you guys more committed. When they see you in a committed relationship, married and stuff, they'll bring you up. Like you'll be able to go up in the ladder and stuff. I was like, men don't see any benefit for women as much. Like, don't tell me.
It's not only that. It's not only that. What people don't realize is like once you're married, or I guess common law as well, when you do your taxes, you get tax exemptions for this, right? So even I've had it on my end. 1 year, maybe some of the expenses that we're writing off goes towards me. Maybe the next year they shift towards him. And the whole point,
income splitting,
right? And the whole point is that at the end of every year when we do our taxes, ain't nobody got to pay the government.
So you offset it and stuff. Like I was doing someone's taxes the other day and I was like, that person gonna pay a lot. hold on, let me move this over here. So this person will get like a little refund, but this person will be able to offset.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people are like, oh, what is it? How does it benefit? I'm like, fam, taxes. I remember listening to a podcast and they're like, I don't care about validating my love life or marriage and stuff. I care about the benefits you get for the government. The government caters to married folks. So whoever wants to get married.
It's a great tax exemption.
I'm joking. But there are benefits, but I'm not sure. Like, I know when it comes to like common law, it's similar, but I don't know if it gives you the same benefits as a married couple. And I don't know. I'm on the fence because like I had a friend that said like, yo, most people are going to be common law in the years to come. And I'm like, I guess. But I know why people get married with like the benefits of I don't know, because it's mostly the states that this happens. Like there's a saying like if a loved one goes into the hospital, you can't even go in with them unless you're the next of kin. And he's like, yeah, I'm the spouse and stuff. Like, oh, I'm the friend. Chill outside.
It's true. Who do they contact when they're ready to pull the plug? It's the next of kin. It's the spouse first. The spouse always has first right to everything, and then after that, it's the next of kin.
Yeah. So it's like, would it be more beneficial to be married to someone, or is it okay with being like having a life partner and being common law? I mean, it depends.
Like the way I see it, at one point there was 100% a benefit to being married for everybody. Yeah. And then the government came along and created something called common law, which shifted a lot of the differences between should I get married for these benefits and what benefits do I get as a common law person, right?
Exactly.
Partner. So a lot of it is exactly the same, but where it kind of differentiates is when it comes to death. So if two people, they're in a committed relationship, they're married, and one passes away, what happens to the assets and the things in the other person, in the deceased person's name? When you're married, you have all rights to everything. When you're common law, and let's say your ex has kids from a previous relationship, he owed some back stuff, it kind of gets a little bit more complicated.
Wow. So, and that's where like a will comes into place, obviously. And then that one word, Oman don't love to hear, but prenup. But fun fact, because I did a poll today, and I think only one person mashed it up. Sorry. They did. Because I was like, yo, I'm actually surprised of how many women actually agreed. Hold on, let me go back to this. I asked
they agreed to having a prenup.
Yeah. Okay, out of 11, because one guy, I'm not going to call you out, but you mashed up my phone. I got so cheesed. I was like, yo, why are you mashing up my phone? At least, so only 2 women out of 11. Nope. Okay. Out of, 2 women out of 11.
Yeah.
Disagreed with signing a prenup.
Okay.
And of course, let's see the gentleman, 100%. 100% for the men. 100% for the men. So I'm not surprised.
this is what I say. Like 10, 20 years ago, a lot of female would feel offended about signing a prenup because the idea was that you were going to get married and somebody, a male, was going to take care of you for the rest of your life, right? Now things have changed. Like you said, there's a lot more women in the workplace. There's a lot of more female professionals. So a lot of women are making their own bag, right? Exactly. So maybe they're the ones that don't want to share when they get into a committed relationship and they're talking about marriage.
I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot of people get the conception of a prenup is that, oh, that person is going to take half. No, you can lay it out how you would like. And I always said this, and maybe I'm a sucker, and I'm going to say it, I'm a sucker of, I'm a hopeless romantic in heart, even though I'm single and stuff. But if I was with someone and they invested time, ideas, suggestions with me, I'm willing to give you a part because you actually helped me become a better person. So why wouldn't I give you like something? And it could be like whatever. I don't know about the stuff before, unless we were talking before when I wasn't on the come up, but I am. And when we become one and things are on the come up even more, why wouldn't I give you a part of that? Because you were there with me. You may not be shooting in the gym with me, Rick Ross, but you were there. The pillow talks and like, oh, this is what I really want to do. And you're like, yeah, you can do it. Da, 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 da. It only makes sense. Like, you did not guess, you technically did it by yourself, but another person invested time and patience and all that stuff when you couldn't cook or clean. That person was cooking and cleaning. So you were able to outsource other things, right? So I never understood that.
Yeah, I think what people don't get is that, like, if you're starting a relationship, I'm starting a marriage, right? I'm getting married, and I own 2 properties in my own name.
Yeah.
Let's say we were together for 10 years, and during that 10 years, we buy a cottage. When we divorce, it's only the cottage that's up for grabs. The 2 properties I owned prior to coming into the marriage are still mine legally, and I don't owe you half of that. It's only the wealth that's accumulated during the time of the marriage.
Exactly. So what if
prenup actually says that during this time of a marriage, anything that I earn, develop, make has nothing to do with you.
I mean, and it's only fair. It's only fair, but like, I can't see myself saying, well, those 2 properties you had before me, I deserve them. No, how? That doesn't make sense. But I like to say that I can be rational, and I think logically that whatever you had before me, you should have. That's why I get really, and I'm not gonna say, I get really, like, when people say, oh, what do you bring to the table? I'm not comfortable getting with an established man or whatever, and I have nothing to give as well. Because I want to bring, like, yo, I may not have a property, but I have like stocks and stuff, and I'm working towards that. I'm like, maybe we can work together and have another property. You could teach me the ways of getting a property, and then we would be able to make more, because 2 incomes is better than 1.
Definitely. I have a male friend. I'm not using names for specific reasons.
No names.
He recently got married during the pandemic, and one of the things that actually I'm so inspired about him is that when he was younger, he bought his first property, but he doesn't live in it. He's used it as a rental property. So with the marriage coming up, I kept on asking, does she know? Does she know? Does she know that you have the property? Like, and he's like, no, because his idea and his perspective is this: what I own is what I own. Now going into the relationship, if we want to come together and buy something, that is fine. I will contribute. We will own things together. But anything I owned prior to is mine.
That's a good question.
Because he's older, like he's not going to have any kids anymore.
Yeah.
He's leaving everything to his nephews. So it's very important to him to protect the assets he had before the relationship, so he can pass it down to his family.
I'm just thinking, like, imagine she's like, oh yeah, we have these properties together, and then all of a sudden you see another. No, because I'm not wishing anything on him, but like, imagine, like, she reads and she's like, oh, wait a minute.
Why are all
these properties that I didn't know about. So then it's a good
Is this
question.
in Liberty Village? Oh yes.
Do you disclose? Because I did ask this in a previous episode, like money talks and everything. Do you disclose those type of things? Because one of my friends, Tashika, she mentioned like he has his account, she has her account, they have a joint account, and then a joint like savings account. And I'm like, ooh, I don't remember hearing about the joint savings where you can invest in stuff. So like
Yes.
it dawns to me, should I mention those type of investments that I have, because what mine is mine. Dang, that's a good one. Like, and
unpopular
then I expose
answer.
myself.
Unpopular answer, I would say no. I'm a big believer of having the 3-4 accounts. I think everybody should have their own personal checking account where their paycheck goes into. But I also believe that we need a joint account so that all bills get paid during the joint account. And I'm a big believer of cutting it down the middle, depending on your income. Because if one person makes more, come on, it has to be equal.
Yes.
So when I say equal, I don't mean 50%, you pay 900, I pay 900, but I just make $1,000. No. I mean, it has to be equal percentage based on your income that's contributing to the household. And I believe every 2 weeks, there should be a deposit in the account based on your paycheck. So treat it like a bill. Just deposit the cash and you never have to worry about when the bills are coming out because it's automatically done.
That's a good one. Because I remember, because you know how you always have like your IG friends and everything. Like, I love them. Especially with like personal finance. I do remember one of the ladies, like when she was married, that he was making more than her. So they had agreement to do 60-40. And I mean, that is fair because it goes based, that works for their relationship.
Definitely.
And now it's coming to my mind because I know there's others where sometimes the breadwinner is the lady. So say you were the breadwinner, would you be comfortable spending or putting 60 or 70% and the
yes, like I don't even have to hesitate about that because there's going to be times when you ain't got it and he has to have it, and there's going to be times that you ain't got it and he's got it. So yes, like speaking for somebody who once upon a time only worked like a part-time job bringing only like $1,000 a month, he paid the majority of the bills in the household. So when things shifted, the idea is that I got you.
And I think I love that you said that, and I wish a lot of, because I can only speak based on like a female perspective, and I wish more women would think like that. I'm hoping, you know what? I have to give credit. The ladies I know, I always say that I'm like a rare unicorn, but most of the ladies I know are either like making a good amount or they're willing to do that. Like I know people, like I know ladies that are making more than their significant other, and they're willing to put the work in financially. And I'm like, see, I'm not the only one.
Well, it goes back to the whole idea that I said, it's a team. Like once you have a spouse and then you guys start talking about like kids and stuff, like don't drop the ball. You have to keep on going. So if X amount needs to be there and he's short, pull up your britches, you got to come in.
It only makes sense. And I wanna put most of the polls in. Like, so I asked a lot of questions. I asked, ladies, are you willing to sign a prenup? I said 9 out of 11 said yes. And some of the answers are like really funny. Cause some of them like, cause it's about love, I don't want your shit. Excuse my French. As long as it's fair for both individuals, because I love for love, not for money. Man, I don't want nobody money anyway. So I I'm not here for what you have. I'm here for who you are. I have another person that said, imagine giving up half of your sandwich when you don't want to. Listen, I'm only giving you a quarter of my sandwich. Okay.
You're only giving me a quarter. But you know what? A lot of people say these things going into a relationship. And once you get accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle, and let's say you're the lower income person and this relationship's coming to an end, what happens then? Are you willing to go back to box wine?
No, box wine.
So it's always great to say this, especially when we're searching or at the beginning of a relationship. We're always like, yeah, 50-50, I got you. But when the chips are down and you really come to the end of this relationship, that's when you find out somebody's true integrity. That's when you find out, did all those words really match with what's going to happen now? And it gets lost because, listen, you're mad, you're upset, anger, all that stuff clouds your judgment. And now you're like, me, right? My scars, my wound, I.
And it used to be we. And I'm not talking about French, yes.
We.
And it sucks because I remember remember that statement I said about beneficial, about marriage?
Yeah.
I swear to Jah, whenever people come up with, oh, because divorce rate is 50%, I'm like, fam, stop talking about divorce. We're talking about marriage. Marriage and divorce are two separate things. And I will say it first. And I think I told you, when it comes to marriage, men, and not all, I'm not going to say all, I'm not going to say, some men don't think long term when it comes to starting dating and stuff. They realize afterwards, like, oh, I'm really feeling this lady and I want to get married to her. And I'll say most women, not all, but most women, their end game is marriage. And that is friggin' scary when it comes to the point, because they think, I'm married, I'm done, I'm good. I've checked all the boxes. I'm married. What else do I have to do? Nah, fam. You still have to keep that relationship or marriage going. And then when you throw in kids and aging parents and stuff.
Yep. It's a lot on the plate.
It's a lot. And once again, I'm not married or anything, but I'm experiencing aging parents. And it's no joke. Like, are you able to handle that? Because you're not only handling your parents, but you're going to be handling their parents too. And are you able to, as when you have two families becoming one, are you able to handle that? There's some people I know. Exactly. There's some people like you, I don't want to know your family. Can we just be us two? Like, no. Like, no. You have to find it. Like, marriage is not the end game. Just because I'm Mrs. Whatever. No, there's so much more to it than just getting the ring and just that one day. Like, it's a lot of work. That's why I'm where I'm at. It's a lot of work.
So right? I think you kind of made a point when you said, like, when you're married and you have kids and then your parents are getting older, there's a lot of stress. And what happens sometimes, there's not enough time for the two people in this marriage to connect and spend time together. And then how do we connect? We go out and we spend money. So it's finding alternative ways that we can connect, spend time together, quality time, that we don't necessarily are spending all that money all the time, right?
True.
And what I found, it's the small things that really make a difference. Like you said, cooking together. Most women love food.
Just as much as men like food too.
Right? Pick a recipe, cook it together, teach her how to cook something that your mom used to make. Maybe you guys try something brand new that neither of you guys have tried.
True.
But like small things. Like I'm a big fan of, let's go bike riding. There's a lot of trails where I live. Hop on that bike with me. Let's ride down to the beach. Let's watch the sunset. Like, there's so much other things that we can do together that doesn't cost money.
That's true. Go back to what happened when you guys just got together and all that good stuff. And I think there was a meme I think you posted it on your IG. Even though I disagreed with the guy, you can't have intimacy and not like be friends. And I'm like,
you can't have intimacy and not be friends?
I'm trying to remember the dang thing, it was a white guy that said, like, I don't want to be married to my best friend. I want to be intimate with the person and then keep it going. I'm like, but at the end of the day, when, our looks are gone and things, 30, 40 years from now, you want
a best friend?
I want someone that I enjoy being around.
No, I want someone to slap my ass. I want intimacy. When I'm 80, I want intimacy. My friends are the ones that I don't pick up the phone when they call because I need some time to spend with the person I want intimacy with. Kind of got real quiet there, Camille.
Because I'm an angel.
Statistically speaking, older people are having more intimacy. And when I say intimacy, I mean sex. People who are 60 and above are connecting more than people in their 30s and their 30s and their 40s because we're so busy working. True. So to have that strong marriage, intimacy has to be there because nobody wants their best friend. Well, some people do, but you know what I mean.
No comment. Okay.
Next topic.
You know what? Next topic, of course. Okay, that yes, but then intimacy. But you would know more than me. But intimacy would be yes, ass smacking or cuddling or just physical touch because again, love languages and stuff. And just like till this day, my dad still gets flowers. And that's just that I feel like that's a part of intimacy. And I don't know because me don't get flowers from nobody, so I don't know if I'll ever get that. But it's like, of course, physical touch, gifts, or acts of service. Acts of service will show someone how much they love someone more than anything else, in my eyes.
Love languages, right?
Right. But yeah, I guess you could smack a little ass. You got me there. You had me speechless.
That's what it is, fellas. Smack it once, twice a week.
Just twice?
Well, I prefer every day, but to each their own, right?
Like I know and like I said, I don't know why. I've been getting a lot of dating or relationship podcasts in my feed, whether it's YouTube and stuff. I know I'm talking about it a lot to the point where people are like,
who's in your life?
I'm like, I'm not. I'm just chilling. I'm just trying to make money and fly out. I'm trying to catch assets and flights. So it's crazy to me, but I think at the end of the day, when it comes to, and I think you can speak about this, like marriage or common law or relationships, money is sometimes the reason why people get divorced. And we want to choose wisely on who we become one with. Because if they're not aligning with your beliefs or systems, it might get complicated. Because
Definitely.
we see the looks and we're like, yo, they look sweet up and everything, but like they have a gambling problem.
It's true.
Or they are abusive and stuff. Like, do we want to have that type of relationship for like 10, 20, 50 years?
50 years. You know, like I think for our generation, we grew up with this mentality of this ride or die relationship. Through thick and thin, I'm gonna stick with you. Definitely. That was what was imprinted with us. So I know when I started early on in my relationship, I'm like, yeah, I'll sleep in a car with you. I'll do anything. Like, that's how you were programmed to believe. But then I see this new generation of young females coming up, and they don't have those same qualms of this ride or die.
They want that sugar daddy.
They're selectively choosing people. So I say it's a bit of both. Because if you're truly in a marriage, it should be a ride or die. That no matter how much difficulties we face, no matter how hard it is, we're going to stick to it. We're going to communicate. We're going to try to get through this. And I know with money, sometimes that's the hardest thing, because with money comes pride. And pride is a thing that will destroy a relationship more than anything else.
Oof, oof, oof. And you know, the Caribbean people have enough pride in ego. So holy shucks, I can only imagine. Like, there's gonna be times when you just have to put your pride aside and just, you know what? I'll take this L.
Yep.
I'll compromise and take this L. You win this time.
It happens. Like, I remember at one point, my spouse at the time, like, he lost his job. So he was getting paid a set amount of money. It was very good. And he lost that job. And I remember we were sitting there, we were having a conversation about, is he going to go back to school? What is he going to do? Because bills have to get paid. Exactly. And he looked me in my eye and he said, you know what? It doesn't matter what I do. The problem now is we need money coming in. So he went and got the first minimum wage job at a factory. And he worked that for about 2 months before he found his next opportunity. Because for him, pride wasn't it. It was, I have these responsibilities. I need to do what I have to do. And then my side was, all right, we're cutting here, we're cutting there, because we're going to make it work. And I think those are the things, and that type of communication is what's going to help a marriage stay strong.
Are you willing to put in the work, folks? That's just key. Or then, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because that happened here too. Like, it happened like after a while, the roles switched. Like, my mom went to school. My mom was like, yo, you're able to do your business, but at the end of the time, when things, like, if the business doesn't happen, I want to go back to school.
Okay.
Went back to school, college, high school, college, and all that stuff, and was able to find an established job. And the roles kind of switched, but still, it was still, my dad's the man of the house, whatever. Yep. But now the money to combined is for the house.
It's greater, so it's stronger, it's, hey, more things can happen.
That's why I don't understand. That's why I don't understand things. That's why I'm here where I am. So I'm like, I don't think there's an issue with someone making more. Like, it's the team, partnership, business arrangements, whatever you want.
It's the team. Listen, think of it like basketball. Everybody has a part to play, but you have to have people that can play more than one part.
Exactly.
So my center has to be a forward. Do you understand?
Is it? And what are, like, before you got into your marriage, or within, what were, like, the 3 things you wish you knew about money before?
So definitely now, I would say now, one of the things I wish I knew before was I wish I really understood our RRSPs, like retirement. I think, like, we saved when we needed to save. we saved when we needed to save, and we knew how to hustle when we needed to hustle. But in the time between, we were frequent spenders. So who was thinking about retirement? And now at this ripe age, all I can think about is retirement. 1. 2 was 2 fingers. Was buying a house. Buying a house. We bought our first house in 2016. And the whole process, I learned so much, but I was so disappointed in us because at that time I realized I should have bought this house in 2000. Well, maybe not 2000, I was still in high school. But the idea is I should have bought this house in 2010, 2009, because our income was possible. But our knowledge of what was in the market wasn't. We were only looking at one market, our neighborhood. And we were like, we can't afford this. We didn't understand what a down payment was, how much we actually needed for that down payment. Because if you had told me that same $30,000, we could have hustled that the first year that we lived by ourselves.
True, because you didn't save 15,000 in a year.
Yeah, in a year. So imagine when our money was more liquid, when the baby was smaller, when we didn't have two, what we could have created if we just had that knowledge and that mindset. So like for my kids now, I'm verbal diarrheaing to them. I'm like, nope, by the time you're 25, I say to my oldest, by the time you're 25, I need you to finish school, 2 years of work, save, we're buying a house. Because mommy knows how to, so we're going to do it together. And ain't nobody going to live in it. Ain't nobody going to live in it. It's called a rental property because I'm like, hey, you stay with me. I want my son to live with me for a long period of time. But we're getting off topic. We're talking about kids. But back to the...
We'll talk about parenting and all that good stuff in another episode. But like,
yeah,
I love
those
that
are the two things. It up. Those are the two things. The third thing, and it's kind of funny now because this has to do with what I'm passionate about now, is life insurance. Like, life insurance is this tool that I never knew could like optimize and leverage my life and give me the opportunity to take loans for myself. So now I'm just like, listen, child, come here. This is what we're doing. Because we're going to set this up that in the next 10, 15 years, you're going to take the money out of this and we're going to start the next business.
Yeah.
So life insurance, and the audacity of me to be living without life insurance for all those years with my kids, thinking in the back of my head, if something happens to me tomorrow, my mama's got this. No. Why would I even try to put that kind of burden and stress on like a woman who's done her prime? She don't want to raise no more children. But my expectations, especially with my kids, because I had them young, was if something happens to me, my mom will take care of them.
Jeez. Yeah. And I think, and you know, we've heard so many GoFundMes. And when I spoke to, because I've had people talk about life insurance in past episodes, and the one thing that dawned to me is that I don't have that discussion with my friends. Like I was asked, so like, yo, do you talk about life insurance with your friends? I'm like, me? I'm like, damn, I haven't. So like I have in recent, like ever since that episode, I have been like pushing my friends. I'm like, yo, I love you so much. I would hate that something happens and like your loved ones are left with like a GoFundMe and stuff. Like, no, it's not cool. Like we need it.
I think of life insurance two different ways. Like I think the majority of people think about life insurance is like, oh, we're going to pay for the funeral and we're going to leave a little money left over. I think of life insurance this way.
Yeah.
I bought a house. I don't even want to say I own it because until I'm done making those payments, I don't own anything. So if something happens to me tomorrow, where do my kids live?
Whew.
So my life insurance pays off that house. So they have a place to live in. Or they take that money, they find a way to refinance it because they get it through my mortgage and through my will, I should say. And then they can take money to go invest somewhere else. So what I've done with my life insurance is I've created options for my kids.
Facts. And that's important.
That's what I realized is important because when I was young, there wasn't as many options. There wasn't that much experiences. You were blocked in to the block that you lived in, kind of.
The
block. That was all you had. Those were your experiences. That was your knowledge of the world. TV was make believe. But it's not until you kind of get older and you leave that block that you start to see, wait, not everybody lives like this.
Can we give a shout out to Gordon Ridge? Even though I didn't live Gordon Ridge, but I was close by.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to do a little shout out,
Shout out to Gordon Ridge. Shout out to the whole Gordon Ridge crew. And one of the things that inspires me about each and every one of those kids that I grew up with that are now thriving adults is that nobody's still there. Everybody has left. Everybody has made it out.
That is true. Because at this, and I know we're kind of going off topic, but it's okay because this is our episode. Shit. It is okay for us to get out of the block or the projects and stuff and evolve. Because can you imagine if we were in the same situation that we were 20 years ago?
No, not even 20 years ago. Let me just count that down.
Let me know I count.
Where the stickers are. No, because if I was in the same place I was 20 years ago, would I be able to provide the opportunities I'm able to provide my kids now? No.
Absolutely not.
Would I have that peace of mind to know that if I lose my job tomorrow, I can kick it for at least 3-4 months before I need to make more money?
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, that was paycheck to paycheck to what? Baby bonus? What do we call that? Child tax benefits? Like I've come to a point where child tax benefit, take it or leave it. I don't care if you want to give it to me or not anymore.
Yeah.
I've come to a point, tax returns, I just pray that I don't owe you.
As much.
Was it HST? HST? I haven't seen an HST check since 2015. What is HST? I know what GST is.
Yo.
So all these things, right? All these things I used to be like, oh my God, I'm not going to get an HST. What am I going to do? But it took my mindset to change, really, for me to realize, no, girl, you got this.
Yeah. And I want to stress this because a lot of people are like, what's my return going to be? If you listen to the previous episodes, you'll know that ideally you're not working towards getting a tax refund. You're working towards having a low owing tax, basically. Because, as more money, more taxes, yes. But that means you have more money to be able to get more assets and more
allocate to different things, right?
Exactly.
The more money, more problems. That's what I realized. And the one thing that we didn't talk about as we talk about marriage and we talk about finances is that for a lot of women, if you've had your children prior to a marriage, one thing I want you to keep in mind is the minute you get married, the government claws back everything. They want the child tax benefit. So if you're not reporting to them right away that your status has changed and they're continuing to give you those checks, they will bill you for it and claw it all back. Because that happened to me. And that's when I made the big adjustment to living without it.
I didn't know that. Wait, say it again. Ladies. Especially ladies that kind of live off the government's incentives.
Mm-hmm.
You have to listen to this. Say it again.
It's a catch-22. I got married in August and I thought, okay, I'm going to finish out the year. The next year, I'm going to do my taxes. I'm going to claim I'm married. And I did that. And the government wrote back like they always do. And they're like, hey, Shana Barrows, you owe us money. We want it all back because you were in a relationship and you didn't tell us. So here am I. At that time, my income wasn't big. It was still kind of small. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, balance owed. And I called my cousin who does my taxes and I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, let me see. And he's like, there's no interest. He's like, Shana, just leave it alone. We'll just continue filing your taxes and it will slowly pay itself off as long as there's no interest. So I scratched my head and I'm like, so until I pay this back, I get no child tax? I get no HST? And I lived that way for 2 years. I lived that way for 2 years. And I think it was the greatest gift in the world because I learned to live without this additional support. So when it was reinstated, it just became an account for my kids to pay for their education, to pay for like their little trips, because it wasn't money that I allocated or called income anymore.
True. Ooh, child.
Ooh.
My Lord. So,
but I know people who don't want to get married for that specific reason as well.
I've heard dumb type of things like, no, I'm single. But aren't you been with? I'm single. I'm like,
yes.
And you know what? I don't like hearing those things. Yo, when I hear them type of things, I was like, yo, send it somewhere else. I don't want my name on a tax return. That's that type of thing, because my name.
But I think it says more about your mentality. It makes me feel that you've already decided that you're going to just stay within this tax bracket. Because the minute your income increases, these benefits decrease.
Yeah, and it boggles my mind that, like, oh, but I don't want to make this much because I'm not going to be able to get this. I'm like, but you're making more money. Sweet. That's a different
Definitely
topic.
You need to do an episode on the system and how the system can kind of suffocate people from advancing. But
yeah,
we'll save that for another time.
It boggles my mind, because I know we've been going on for a good while because our conversations are just so excellent. So I am going to wrap it up because I just booked the how long but like, what are your next avenues and where can people find you as well?
So my next avenues right now that I'm working on, I'm actually working on Project X supports. So this is a project. This is a project that was kind of inspired with my younger son, Keneal. During the Christmas holidays last year, we were watching a lot of documentaries on YouTube. And we started watching documentaries about kids who have difficult journeys to get to school. So it sparked a conversation about how...
You're muted. Oh, there you go.
Okay, so it sparked a conversation to say how blessed he is, lack of a better word, currently, that he has all this access to information and resources in school, and that not everybody has that type of access. So I took it back and I took a minute to think about what I can do, how I can help another school. And I said, you know what, instead of going abroad or overseas, I said, let me go back to where my family started. So had a quick conversation with my mom, elementary school that she went to in Jamaica, got the contact of the principal out there, striked up a big conversation talking about what the kids need, how can I support. So this year I'm doing it, test run. So this is 100% funded by me. I'm sending them school supplies. So backpacks, books, pencils, erasers, sharpeners. I'm sending them all in a barrel for them to pick up to help support the kids in the school. This is Brixton Hill Elementary in Mucko, Jamaica, Clarendon Parish. Whoop, whoop. So I'm hoping that after this year, I'll understand the ins and outs of shipments. And next year, the goal is to set it up again. But this time, I want to go one step further. I want to talk about technology. Because right now, technology is the future for education, no matter where you live. So how can I get more technology to the kids back home to support them and their education? Because we all know, especially with personal finance, a lot of stuff we need to know, you don't learn it in schools. So let's take a step further and help another young kid.
Facts. And I think your youngest son has a podcast. I had a shout out there, so I had to make it up.
Yes, he does. Counting Pennies with Keneal. So this was his passion project. He did 1 year of episodes, and then he came back to me and he's like, Mom, I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't want to be a star. So what's in the projects coming up for this summer? We're bringing back Counting Pennies, but it won't be starring Keneal. It's going to just be a family conversation where the three of us, so myself, my two kids, we sit down and we're going to discuss different topics that we're passionate about. Right now, my eldest is going through driving school and we're talking about his future because he's going off to college. So look out for that. It's going to launch July 1st, 2022. So look out for that.
We hear it first time.
And then if you want to get in contact with me, you can find me on Instagram. That's Project X Financial. Or you can check me out on my website, www.projectx projectxfinancial.com.
So I'm gonna put all the information in the description on YouTube and also Anchor or Spotify, wherever you guys listen to it, because we worldwide. And Shana, thank you.
Always, Camille. Always.
Because I know I feel like we're like-minded. It's just you have more experience with the marriage and all them things. I just look from inside, I look from outside looking in, and I'm just like, I'll just look from afar. I'll look from afar, and we'll keep listening to different podcasts.
And we'll continue sharing podcasts. Oh,
because we did listen to an interesting one, I will say, but I'm not saying online because I don't want to call myself out. But thank you so much for coming. And folks, make sure you like, subscribe, share, tell a friend. Any newlyweds or common laws or long-time relationships, you need to listen to this because you have to compromise and all that good stuff, right? And make sure, because it's the 69th episode, make sure you smack some asses.
Smack some ass.
On that note.